Hi guys, welcome to the screencast on the short-term effects of exercise on the musculoskeletal system. So just to clarify, the musculoskeletal system is made up of your muscular system and your skeletal system, and we use this term when describing how our muscles and bones work together when we're active. So all I want to go through is the 5 key points that we need to speak about for our assignment, and we looked at these on last Tuesday. So increased production of synovial fluid. We should all know this because we went through this in quite a lot of detail. We've also got increased range of movement in the joints, micro tears in muscle fibres, new bone formation, and increased metabolic activity. And I'm going to go through the last 4 with you today now. So increased range of movement in joints. I don't want to read the PowerPoint completely because you can all read for yourself. So all I want to discuss is how, as muscles become warmer, they become more pliable, i.e. more elastic. So this combined with increased levels of synovial fluid in a joint means an increased range of movement. So the reason this is good is because essentially it'll avoid us getting certain injuries such as muscle strains when we are exercising. So that's really important for an example. So you could say when a footballer kicks a ball, you have more range of movement, so therefore the hamstrings will be less likely to get a strain. So that's the type of detail that you need to go into for that one. Okay, so the next one is micro tears in muscle fibers. Again, I don't really want to talk about what's on the PowerPoint because you can see that. So what I want to say is it's good for sports that require strength and power, such as rugby. An example would be a forward in a scrum. So during training, they would perform squats and deadlifts. This would immediately cause breaks in the muscles that stimulate your body to rebuild the muscles bigger and stronger. So therefore, you have an advantage over your opponents in the scrum. So going through new bone formation. So this is really good for impact sports such as again rugby and volleyball. So new bone is formed after it has been placed under stress. So certain activities again are squatting, deadlift, clean and jerks, and the proteins, which is mainly collagen, are released to strengthen the bone. And this occurs mainly from high impact activities, like I said. So this would be really good for someone at the net at volleyball when they're constantly jumping up and down to block shots or volley shots into the opposition ground. The last one we need to discuss is increased metabolic activity. So this happens because our body needs energy from the food we eat. So an increased metabolic rate would benefit an endurance athlete such as a marathon runner who needs to produce energy over an extended period of time, i.e. for 26.4 miles. So once you've looked at that, you can pause it whenever you want, make notes, go through it, make sure you have examples for each one of the items I've just gone through. And I want you to type up the 4 points I've got here. So outline 2 ways in which the musculoskeletal system responds to short-term exercise. So you can either look at increased metabolic activity, new bone formation, micro tears in muscle fibers, increased range of movement in the joints, and increased synovial fluid. Once you have done that, which I expect every single person in the class to have done, you then go on to describe 2 ways in which the musculoskeletal system responds to short-term exercise. Now, if you're not too sure what describe means, all you need to do is go onto the internet, type in Google, for example, describe, definition of describe, and it will give you a definition of what we expect from a describe. Once that's done, I expect people to also explain 2 responses of the musculoskeletal system to short-term exercise. And explaining, you're going into a bit more detail with essentially giving an example. So I provided you with some examples there, but I expect you to also think of your own examples to go with the ones that I've used. So potentially 2 examples for each heading. What I want you to do as well is, if you look at the specification that I've told you about, which is on Moodle, if you look at topic A.1, it says short-term effects of exercise on the musculoskeletal system. Those 5 bullet points you have to mention. So you need to talk about increased production of synovial fluid for joint lubrication and nourishment, increased joint range of movement due to increase in blood flow and increased muscle temperature, micro tears in muscle fibers causing the muscle to rebuild itself and become slightly bigger and stronger. And then the exercise, a high impact activity encourages new bone formation. So for example, squatting, lunging, deadlifting. And the last one, increased metabolic activity. So you need to mention all of them. This is what I mark off. So if you haven't mentioned all of these and gone into a bit of detail, you will not actually be getting the grades that you need or require. So there you have it. That's what I want you to do. So if you can just get on that with that now, please, that'd be very grateful. Thank you.